Hello there, time for another impressions video, this time of Bioshock Infinite. We're going to be looking at gameplay footage on normal difficulty in the Good Times Club. Should be renamed because Booker DeWitt can only find bad times in there, unfortunately. Although I like the music in there, that's nice. So I'll be the first to admit that I am not a big Bioshock follower. In fact, I don't really even like first-person shooters that much. And Bioshock Infinite got soaring review scores. So I thought I would give it a try. And to be honest, I came at it from a very skeptical point of view. So let me start with the bad first. Just note that there is a silver lining, and I will get to that. My biggest problem with this game is that it is so good, but it's made in Unreal Engine. Now don't get me wrong, there is nothing wrong with Unreal Engine. It's a fantastic engine, many studios use it and they make good games. But Bioshock's story and the lineage that goes with it deserves more. If you could think of Unreal Engine as like a Toyota Camry, every family man has one, but Bioshock Infinite really deserved a Ferrari. And it shows. The game that I played before Bioshock Infinite was The Last of Us. And although the art direction was spectacular and everything looked lovely, Unreal Engine was holding it back. There were just things that were just so familiar because I've seen it in so many games. In fact, when I saw Elizabeth for the first time, I thought I was playing Madness in Wonderland. I thought she looked a little bit like Alice, which is partially intentional. But it wasn't because of the look-alike, it was because they were both rendered in Unreal Engine. So it's not really so much of a negative, just that Bioshock Infinite reminds you of the graphics of a lot of games because it uses a very common engine. Now my next problem is more of a story problem. The story in this game is amazing. It's a breath of fresh air. However, it does very little to explain why vigors exist. And for those of you that don't know, vigors are sort of like these magic potions that you drink that allow you to have certain almost supernatural powers, like being able to throw fireballs with your hand. And I know that that ability is a staple of the Bioshock series, but vigors aren't really explained in any detail. That's just sort of, oh, they're there. And no one seems shocked. Especially in a setting that seems so religious, it just doesn't sort of fit in with the world. It just doesn't fit right. My third and final complaint about the game is the city of Columbia itself, and more so its inhabitants. They reused a lot of assets. Most of the people look very similar to each other, and for the kind of game it is, and for the time that it has come out, being 2013, they could have done better. They could have made the city seem more lively and less like cardboard cutouts. Very beautiful cardboard cutouts, I might add. I'm just saying that they could have made it more alive. Now, for those of you that are sitting there thinking, oh no, this guy is just complaining so much and it's such a good game, or if you're thinking, man, this game sounds really bad, I want to stop you right there. And I want to say, go and buy this game, because it's one of the best. Bioshock Infinite had two of my favorite things for first-person shooters. It had a storyline that was deep and packed full of themes, and also it had a carbine rifle, which sounds odd, but most games don't have a good carbine rifle that is worth playing. In fact, throughout most of Bioshock, I didn't really use high explosive weapons. I mostly used the carbine rifle and the hand cannon. because they are just so cool and trendy. They made me feel like I was playing Battlefield 1942 with an M1 Garand. Red Dice, if you ever come across this video, please make another World War II Battlefield. I really miss carbine rifles. Okay, best for last. The story of this game is amazing because it doesn't tell you much at all. In fact, the whole game you're walking around very confused and you don't know what's going on, and all the while you're playing you're like, why is this happening? Why did that just happen? Why did that just happen? And by the end, it just sort of all, in the last 5 minutes, it sort of all wraps up very nicely. And your mind is just mind blown. It's very good, and it's packed full of themes. Among my favorites, it's contrary to our culture, where games are all about giving the player so many choices that they're just stuffed. And Bioshock gives you a whole bunch of choices, but then I'm not really sure they do anything. And I like that, because Bioshock is just so much more successful and focused for it. I think so many developers could learn from that. And I love how science and faith are intertwined and equally corruptible in this game. They just sort of fit so hand in hand with each other to create this very human evil that can be seen in greed and guilt and a need for redemption. But most of all, I like the chemistry between Booker DeWitt and Elizabeth. And I don't want to spoil the story for you, because I want you to play the game. There's something so sweet and innocent and very sort of Disney about Elizabeth that you want to protect her. But as things progress through the game, you see somewhat of a change, and as things resolve, it just leaves you with all these very bittersweet emotions. Which is why I'm going to have to play the DLC, because I am dying for some resolution. And the fact that I'm dying to play the next one probably says the most about the game. That's how you know your game was effective and that the story was engaging. Anywho's, those are my thoughts. I hope you have a good one.
Will the circle be unbroken by and by? Is a better